To make the map you see on the screen right now, we made a simple code that would read through a text file, line for line, and if it were to read a symbol, let's say A, we could also say in the code, if it reads A, then render dirt sprite. Now this method to create a map seems pretty easy and seems pretty cool. I mean, you just have to open a text file, then write whatever symbols you want to, and then say in the code that if it spots these symbols, then it has to output these sprites on the screen. But there are two problems. The first one is limitations. The second one is readability. On the first problem, you have the limitation of numbers of symbols. There's only 26 letters and only 10 numbers to use. I mean, you also have big letters, you also have other symbols, but how many unique symbols do you have? Symbols that makes it easy to read, and that's the second problem. Now, there are things you can do to make it easier for yourself. For example, you could write down what symbols correlates to which sprite, or you could take and draw the map on paper before you type it in the text file. But then again, it was a very simple way to make a map.
Something I wanted to focus on a bit during this project was a simple AI, and the secret behind making great AI is... The AI is simply checking the distance compared to the view distance of each entity to toggle the AI mode from walking to attacking. In attacking mode, the speed changes, the entity is running towards the player and jumps when colliding horizontally with an obstacle. With a simple collision check, we call the attack function and voila, Terminator level AI, truly frightening. This project was also the opportunity to explore particle engines, and I thought it would look interesting as a blood effect. This works with a vector list of positions, directions and speeds, which is generated using a normal distribution in order to have a natural spread. In addition to this, the velocity is also varied randomly. The last touch was to set the velocity as 0 whenever a particle hits a solid obstacle, which simulates blood splatters on grounds and walls. One important feature and integral part of a platformer is collision detection, and it's a feature I've had a lot of trouble implementing in the past with long if statements, a lot of trial and error, and sadly a lot of instability. I decided to change the approach to the problem and instead calculated the angle between the center of both sprites and then simply checked whether the angle is inside one of the 4 diagonal quadrants to determine what direction the collision should be resolved. This works great generally, but there are still some glitches when hitting the blocks from a certain angle, but it's thankfully rare.